Hi, let's continue with the rest of that session that we started. So we created the database and we added that to the model. That's how we can see this now in the models folder. We have three classes: enrollment, students, and course. Okay, and all these attributes are exactly representing our database entities in our database. So our model is done. So if I go back to my diagram, so the database is done, created, all the three entities. The relationship, all done. The next one we did the model. Model is also created based on the database. Now we're going to create controller and the views for each entity that we have in this model. So let's go back to Visual Studio. If I scroll up inside my controllers, I had to right click. Oh, but before I create the controller, because we did a lot of work, created database, linked that here to our MVC project, the classes are created. So we have to update our project now. So let's go back to project, right click and rebuild. If you don't do this, it's not going to allow us to create the controller. So this is important. We should see a rebuild success message here in this window. You see it says rebuild started and it says one succeed, zero failed. So if there was any problem, we could see if there was any issue with the classes or any other references, then we could fix that, but it's all good. So we go to the controller now, right click on the controllers, click add a new controller. Now this time, I'm not going to choose an empty. If I do this, then I have to create all the methods and all the operations myself. An easy way here is to choose this third option. It says MVC controller with views using entity framework. So if you look at the explanation here, it says an MVC controller with actions and razor views to create, read, update, delete, and list entries from an entity framework data context. So what is the first option? It will create an empty controller. We have to create all the action result method. And for every method, we have to create a view in the view folder. But if we choose the third option, the methods will be created in the controller. And for every controller method, a corresponding view will be also created. Like as you can see here, in the controller, we have three methods: index, contact, and about. And for all these three, we have these three views created. Okay, so we're going to do something called scaffolding. Okay, that's creating the views and the methods for us. So I choose the third option. Now, when I click on that, I see these options here. So the first one asking me to select the model for this controller. So for this one, the first I'm going to choose is student. That is a students.cs class. As you can see on the right side, student.cs. So the first controller I'm going to create for student. Okay, and the next one is, this is the DB context class that is created, which I told a while ago is going to be a key for us to talk to our database. So ABCD entity is actually that DB context class. Okay, I don't have to do anything else. Just if you want to change the name of the controller, you can change, but I will leave it as it is. Okay, so we have the model selected. The DB class context class is selected here, which is our key to communicate with the database, and the controller name selected. And then I'll click add. Okay, what it says, there was an error running the selected code generator, unable to load the service index for some. Okay, it looks like some index that's required here. Let me see. Let me fix that. What is Okay, so I'm trying to create the same controller now by clicking right click. It worked this time. I don't know why it took a while ago, but it perfectly works now. As you can see, the student's controller is created, and if I click on it, okay, let me show you the home controller first. In the home controller, as you can see, let me close all these windows. So we have three methods here: index, about, and contact. Every one of these methods actually correspond to a view inside the home folder. Because this is a home controller, so it points to all the views inside the home controller. Now similarly, if I double click on my students controller, I have that database context class, data context class ABC, D, B entities, and we have an object for that class. And that, with the help of that object, I actually have access to the database. And I go to the student table and I list all the entries. And all these entries are sent to this view. Now, where is this view? Now, look, this is a student's controller. See, if I scroll down inside the views folder here, look at this. So I have home view, which I just explained. I have shared views, and I have students view. Now, inside the students, these 5 views are created. This folder is created in the 5 views when I created this controller because I choose the third option, that is to create the controller with all the methods and all the views. Okay. Now it has a lot of code already created for us to make our job easier. As you can see, the method has a name, it has a parameter, that ID we get into this method. Based on ID, if it is null, it will just display a bad request. And if that ID is a number, then there's a uh, query here, language integrated query. For that, we should have link on, as you can see. It simply means that go to the student table, inside the student table, look for the ID um, column, and if you find the value that you received, just get that entire row and store it in this object of the student type. And if that student is actually null, that means nothing is found of that number. Let's say I pass 1000 and there's no student with 1000 ID in the student table, it will return null in this object. So if the object is null, then it will return HTTP not found. That means that object does not exist with the ID 1000. If that student exists with that 1000, then it will just return the student to the detail page. And inside the detail page, if I click on it, that detail of the student will be displayed here with using these razor statements. Like it will display the name of the student. Well, this is the label. This is the name, and it will display the phone number. This is the label, and this is the value. And again, it will display the phone number, the email, the address, the city, the postcode, and the country, and the DOB and gender. Okay, so all this information will be displayed in a detail page. Similarly, if you go back to the student controller, you will see the create view. This view is just to display an empty create view. What is in the create view? A form with the bootstrap classes, CSS, beautifully created here. Okay, it's just to take input from the user. Okay, there are two create methods we have. Um, so I'm the wrong. Let me close this one. If I go back to that, I have two create method. One create method here to load the empty page. The next create method is once I typed something like the ID, name, phone, email, whatever, they are all sent to the database to register that new row inside the database table. Which database table? Student. Add student. Okay, that student is the object of this class. So as you can see in the parameter here, we have student. This student, as you can see, this is the class and this is the object. This object is holding all the values. Okay, and this bind property simply it's a security mechanism in MVC. That means that no other values will be accepted other than the values for these attributes. Okay, so this is one of the great feature that we have to make sure that no extra data come into this method. So it's going to accept these values, and that those new values will be stored in this database table. And then it will save the changes, and it will redirect to the home page from the create, so you can see the new row created. Now, as you can see, we have one create an empty page, another create which saves the new row, two methods with the same name and different parameters. This is called polymorphism. So as you can see, polymorphism implemented in controller. You can also see inheritance here, because every controller class is inheriting from the controller class. I'm going to explain these all one by one in detail. So I created one controller now for the student. Now I need to go back to my menu to update it. For example, if I run this project, it's going to show me the view, the browser, all the file that we have already created, but it's not going to show me the new controller options, like how to add a student, how to remove a student. So that option that will not be visible to us. It's because it's just simply the view is the menu is not updated yet. So I'll show that in a minute. Look, you got home, you got about, and contact, but you don't see the student details here. So for that, you go to the shared inside the views folder, go to the shared folder, click on the layout. Okay, just copy any one of these list items which are actually pointing to our menu. So this one is the first parameter of the action link is just a text. You can type anything in it. I just call it students. The second parameter is the name of the view that you want to call with the help of this menu. So I want to call this index, the index of the students. The third parameter is the controller name. Now in my case, the controller for this is students. You see that students controller, we don't write the whole name, we don't write controller. We only take the first part of that students, and it works. So this will update my menu now. So if I run my application, you should be able to see a new menu item is added that is called students. You see that? Look at that. Now if you click on this, it should display a page with no students on this form. But if you want, you can create one. For example, let's type Christina. Phone number 0208, whatever the number is, and the email christina@abc.com. The address is 1 Tower Hill, London. Postcode is E12KK. Date of birth. Now, date of birth in this case, we have to manually type it. But honestly speaking, that's not the right way. We're going to use another option here as a date picker. But at the moment, just we have to type it. We have to do a lot of validation and other changes. Okay, right. As you can see, a student is created here. Okay, if I want, I can create another student here as well. Let's say David, and we got some. That's the phone number. So I should add something. Let's say that is his phone number. Uh, that should be David. Okay, Green Tower, whatever, London, SE2, and the date of birth. Let's choose that's another person added. Okay, and the gender is male. So we added David now, another student. So there are two students added here. If I want to edit, I just click on this. Let's say the postcode is incorrect. So I just say E12PK. And as you can see, the date of birth also has the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. So when we do the validation part in the next video, we will remove all of them, and you will see a nice, beautiful date. Okay, if I want to see the detail of David, I just click on detail and I see the details part. And if I want to delete something, I can just click on this and delete it, but I'm not going to delete it. So all the create, the insert, like this is the insert, the update, the read, and the delete. All the CRUD features work here. So I can create, I can update, I can delete the student. Now this index, because this is the home page for the student, it should not be called student, index. It should call student detail. So I can go to my view of that specific view, which is index in the student folder. And all I need to do, this title of the page, I should just make it um, students detail. Okay. So I'm just going to save it. And if I go and refresh it, okay, right. Oh, that one's, this was the title. So the title is changed. Right. So, this one, H2. It's good to change the title as well, but let's actually, this one I wanted to change. That's students detail. Okay. So H2, this is actually H2 in this page. Excellent. So instead of index, it's just more specific. So I created a model. Let me stop running the application. So if you go here, so we have three classes in the model: courses, students, and enrollment. So I created the controller for student with all the methods which does add, remove, delete, search, all these options that we have. Sorry, not search, the detail, and even dispose any objects running around in the memory by this application, just to speed up performance of your application. And there are two methods for delete as well. So one delete is just loading, yeah, the view that you want to delete, and the other one confirm the deletion. So I'm going to explain all these methods again in another video. But at this stage, I just want to show you the scaffolding feature, how we can make controllers and views from the model classes. So we did it for a student. The same controller we had to create for courses and enrollments. So if I right click on controller, add controller, I choose again the third option, click add, and this time I'm going to choose student is done. So I'm going to choose course. I cannot choose enrollment until I create course and student both. The reason is the enrollment depending on course and student. Okay, because enrollment has the primary key from course and student as foreign keys. So the model course is selected. The data context class automatically picked up, and the name is based on the class name, which is fine. Then click add. As you can see, another controller is created called course controller, which is inheriting from the controller main parent class. Again, the same data context class, which gives us access to the database table. This time it's course. And another one, it was student. It just lists down all the courses and send it to the index page. And same for the detail page, just checking if that specific ID of the course exists. Okay, and display that course for us. And similarly, we have create method to load an empty form to fill it up with a new course. And this one is to submit it back to the database. This is called HTTP post because it posts back to the database. And this one, it should call HTTP get. HTTP get. You can just type here HTTP get. Okay, it's just display the empty form, which is actually here. If you go to courses for create, this is that empty form. So our controller course is created with all the action result methods that we need for create, insert, update, and delete. And for this, every single method that we have, there is a corresponding view inside the courses table, like index, edit, detail, delete, and create. Okay, so that controller is also done. Let me complete the other controller as well, the last one for enrollment. So I go to controllers, right click. This is the last class that we have in the model, enrollment. And again, I choose the third option because it generates the code for me. So I click on the edge. Inside the model, I will choose enrollment, the same data context class. The name automatically picked up based on that enrollment.cs class from the model, and then click add. So this will generate me create me a new controller enrollment. As you can see here, new class enrollment controller.cs created. And again, if you look at it, it has the same code as the other. Okay, it's just a little bit different because it has foreign keys as well from student and courses. So this will include, as you can see, var enrollment, db.enrollment include, e goes to e.course. So the course is also included here as well as the student. Why? Because inside the enrollment table, we have the primary key from the course and the primary key from the student. So in this list that we are sending now to the view, it has the enrollment details that is also including the course and the student details. So again, all the methods that we have up here, the only difference you will see here is in the create, which was completely blank like this inside the course and the student, it has some extra code here. It's because when I'm creating a new enrollment, I will pick a course from the available courses and who is going to be registered for that course. So I can pick someone based on their ID, name will be selected. So if I want to enroll a student for a new course, I can select the course from this drop-down list and I can select the student that I want to enroll for that specific course. And the rest of the create method is same. It's HTTP post. It has the object which actually contains all the values that we filled in the create form, and we're just sending it and checking it. If everything is good, all the validation, everything is followed, all the rules are applied, we just insert a new enrollment into the enrollment database. I will explain all these with the help of a demo in a minute. So let's go through what we did. Database is created with 3 tables in it. Okay, as you can see them on the left hand side, that is course, student, and enrollment. We connected that to this project. When we connected it using ADO.NET Entity Data Framework, it created 3 classes for us. That is course, enrollment, and student. Based on these classes, for every class, we created a controller like course controller, enrollment controller, students controller. Okay. And when we created the controller, for every controller, their corresponding views are automatically generated for us. So there's very less code involved in this exercise that I'm explaining now. So let's see the demo of this. That will, sorry, me. Okay, so let me present now how it's going to work with all the database, the model, controller, and views. So if I execute this, oh, there one more minute. Oh, wait a minute. I need to do something else here as well. The 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 menu is not updated yet. So I go back to the shared folder, and in the layout, I'm going to copy this, and I need 2 more menu items here. One student already done, and I need one for courses. That will be also the index. And the controller of the courses is also called courses. Okay. As I explained, the first parameter of the action link is the text. The second parameter is the view. And the third parameter is the controller. So now I have to do the same for enrollment. And for the enrollment, same index. And the class and the controller name is enrollments. Okay, so let's run the application now. Okay, so when I run the application, it's going to show me the updated menu now with the student linked with the menu, courses linked, and enrollment linked. Okay, so the students are entered here. Okay, then let me add some courses. Let's say I entered a course HND ISE, that is Information Systems Engineering. Duration is, let's say, 24 months, and the fee for this is, let's say, £12,000. And the level is HND. So I created a course. You see, as you can see, the course appear here. And I'm going to create another course now, which is, let's say, BS02 or something. That is, let's say, BSc in Maths. Duration for that is, let's say, 36 months. And the fee for that is, let's say, let's say £18,000. And the level is degree course. So I can add a couple of other courses as well. Let's say I add another one, HND Nets, and that is computer networking. Duration again 24 months, fee £12,000, and the level is HND. So I added 3 different courses here, and I can edit, I can go to detail, or I can delete any one of them. So I have students created, courses created, and now I'm going to enroll 1 or 2 students on these courses. So when I click on enrollment, I can see the create view. That is actually this view. Let me show you. So if I go to enrollment, this create view is actually loaded for me now. Okay, that create view is loaded. So let's see what we have. Now enrollment start date, let's say 6 September 2021, and let's say, oh, right. So let's say this is the start date, this is the end date, and we can choose which student we want to register. So instead of student ID, IDs are difficult to recognize. We can see the names appear here, and we can choose which course they want to register. So Christina is registered for that. It's just the American date system is causing a little bit problem, because that should be the day and that should be the month. So again, as you can see with the date, you see the hours, the minutes, and the seconds as well, because C# does not have a date parameter. It had a date data type. It has a date time data type. We're going to remove all these, and we have to make it really stylish with colorful bootstrap classes and validations. That's something we're going to do in the next video. Let me record another student now. So that's somewhere in August. Maybe whatever you want to change this to July. And the enrollment end date is somewhere in 2023. This time I'm going to register David. Okay, what is that? Okay. So now if I click again, this time this guy will be registered for the BSc Maths. So as you can see now in student, I have student registered. In courses, I have courses registered that we offer. And enrollment, these are the students enrolled with their start date, end date, the courses they're registered for, and the name of the students. It's actually the ID, but based on the ID, we fetch the name of the student from the database, just to make it easy for us to understand. We're going to work on the validation to make things looks nice, not like hours, minutes, and seconds, exactly the British date system. And we have to style all these using Bootstrap classes in our next video. Thank you for watching.